Hey there, today we're going to talk about a complex feeling. I know I made a promise about talking about this topic, and you know me, I sometimes kind of just forgot about what I promised and then took off for other things. So now I finally came back and I decided to pick this up and started talking about this. And this is our Schadenfreude. Yeah, Schadenfreude. So this is not an English word. This is from German, and that is a compound word. So Schaden means harm or hate, and Freude it means joy. Um, if you combine the two together, you may think this may be a hate-love relationship or a hate-love mixed feeling, but it's actually not. This is when people feel happy about what other people's sufferings, and that's what we call that Schadenfreude. And the funny thing is, I first thought, wow, this is my word. I'm going to really talk about that. And after I read the definition or I read the notes, Brene Brown had in her book, and then realized, oh, okay, and that actually really makes sense. And that's why I really want to talk about that. So after we figure out what the meaning is about this word, so I did have a little bit of notes in my book right here. So here we go. I'm gonna put that here. Um, so when you have that kind of feeling, you're happy about other people's suffering. I just want to ask you, how many of you had the moment when other people suffer and then you feel happy about it? So to be quite honest, you don't have to tell me, but just think about that question. I do have a few moments of that, but uh, I don't just I don't just be happy about what other people suffer, what other people suffered. There is the context. When some people do bad things, I really want them to get revenge. And when they get revenge, that's when I feel happy about it. And I'm not only just happy about what other people is suffering, because that will make me a really terrible person, but I am happy that people actually have got justice from other people who have done some wrongdoings. Okay, you may hear my work email, just ignore that. So that's what I want to talk. Think about this. I want to give you a little bit example about what that means. In Canada, most people did get their first shot, and almost, I think, 80% people, maybe 70% people got their second shot, and were trying to get the third shot, which is the booster shot. But some of people did not get the shots, and they went on protest to say that anti-vaccination, things like that. So at that moment, if there's some people get tested positive, COVID positive, and then I will be really happy because that's what they deserve to get. I am not happy about their, of course, I'm happy about their suffering, but I'm not really just purely happy about their sufferings. I am happy that people like me, people like who are trying to stay on track, who are trying to save the world. I'm happy about I'm happy for people like that get justice uh, from people who have wrongdoings. So that's why feel like whatever she explains there actually really makes sense. There are some quotes I really want to share, and I will, of course, give my own feedback about that. It's Schadenfreude involves counter empathy. Our emotional reaction is incongruent with another person's emotional experience. When someone else is suffering and we feel joy, there is decreased activity in the area of the brain that processes empathy and increased activity in the reward centers. In other words, when we feel Schadenfreude, it shuts down the area of our brain that we use when feeling empathy and lights up the areas of the brain that makes us feel good and that entice us to engage in similar behaviors in the future. So what she basically says there is when you have that feeling Schadenfreude and you will feel so the area of how you feel about other people's suffering will be like I'm very happy they're suffering, and the area that you're supposed to feel empathy for them will be shut down. So at that moment all you can feel is the joy, not the empathy part. So that makes us evil because how can you do that to other people? Right. Another quote is when we are relieved or happy to see someone held accountable for wrongdoing, we're not automatically celebrating their suffering, but more often we're grateful for the healing that accountability brings to those who have been affected by the wrongdoing. So that's what I was trying to say there, or the example I gave to you is uh, we have to realize why do we feel the joy at the moment we see other people suffering. We're not trying to say that, haha, look at him, he deserves, he's suffering, it's so funny. That at that moment in your mind, there's a word called deserve. You will think, oh, he deserves it. For example, so think about COVID. I already gave you the example, but think about other things. If your boyfriend or some of your friends' boyfriend uh, has cheated on them, cheated on her or anyone. So after you realize, okay, I'm going to leave this guy, and then what you want to see is they suffer. But do you really want to see them suffer? Yes, you do. But you want to see them suffer because you want to get justice, because what they have done to you is not right, and you get hurt from what they've done. So now you want them to get hurt, so you will feel like now it's fair because you've experienced what I've experienced. And that's when you have this complex feeling, which is called Schadenfreude. Pardon my German and my pronunciation is not right there. So I thought this is very interesting because we barely talk about feelings like that. It makes us a evil person. So that's why we don't want to talk about it. You don't hear people say that I'm so happy with it, but you do see a lot of comments or a lot of posts on internet saying that, oh, he deserves it, she deserves it, or we should punish them for something. And that really reminded me of a story, not story, the thing that happened to me. If you remember, I posted a video about someone stole my package before Christmas. Right? So what I really wanted to see that person suffering because she did the wrong thing and she hurt me, and I wanted to see the same thing happen to her so I can get justice. But that moment, if that ever happened, I will be really happy, not happy about she's suffering, but happy about I got justice. So I am not celebrating other people's suffering. I am celebrating myself because I did get justice. So that is how I understand from the notion of this book. And we don't talk about that, right? We don't talk about that. We barely share this kind of feeling with other with our friends or family because we don't want people to think we're a bad person, we're really evil. And that is because sometimes we feel uncomfortable talking about that. And back to this quote here, taking pleasure in someone else's feelings, even if the person is someone we really dislike, can violate our values and lead to feelings of guilt and shame. But make no mistakes, it's seductive, especially when we are sucked into ground think. So while it's hard to stop us from thinking about, okay, I really want that person to suffer. But when you think about it, our default is to believe people are decent, people are kind, people should do right things. So when it's against your default, then you will, of course, feel guilty and ashamed. So that's why we don't want other people to think we're that kind of person and we want to see other people suffering because we will feel ashamed of our behaviors here. And that is what she was trying to say. I really like this part and I actually marked that part, and I'm going to finish this video with the last paragraph she has here. And I want to know what you think about this definition. So it says, we often don't talk about our Schadenfreude because it can make us feel shame and or guilt. This came up a lot during the pandemic when vaccinated people struggled with feeling outside their values over their Schadenfreude toward anti-vaccination folks who were diagnosed with COVID. I wrestled with it myself. I remember thinking one day, is this who I want to be? Someone who celebrates people getting sick or dying, regardless of the circumstances? I would justify it for a minute by thinking, but they are threatening my health and the health of people I love. In the end, I couldn't make it work with my values, but I'm still angry, and without a viable accountability strategy, it's hard not to let the shitty emotions take over, right? So she didn't offer you a solution to stop this kind of feeling. It's just very hard because not only threatening yourself, but someone you love. And you don't want to see someone you love suffer. So, what you can do is to become very angry at people who are not responsible for other people's life or other people. And then you get angry, then you will have this shitty feeling or emotions. So, that's what she says here. Uh, I do feel relatable, but I think it's not something I normally would have very often, but it happens occasionally. So I just think it's worth to talk about that. Let me know if you ever have the feelings or ever have the moment about this emotion. I'll leave a comment down below, or you can share that with me in whatever way you feel comfortable. Um, yeah, that is a pretty short video for today, and hopefully next one will be better than this. Hope you like it, and please don't forget to give me a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, or do both. So Bob is not here today because he's sleeping and he does not want to cooperate with me. So this is a no Bob video, and yeah, I will see you next one. Peace out.